Next is Mr. Sébastien CoRhino, the longest ballot committee. Sir.
Merci au Sénat. Je remercie aussi les
Thank you
traductrices.
to members of the Senate. I'd also like to thank the interpreters.
J'ai été très content de savoir que des modifications avaient été
I'm
prévues
very
à la
happy
loi.
to see that amendments are being prepared for the Canada Elections Act, and I rapidly went to see what is to be changed in Bill C-24. Nothing assures that the voting approach is changed. In Ottawa, we know that it is outdated, and that's just being discussed. The electoral system should have been changed years ago. Electoral reform has been a topic for many years, and it's still being discussed now. It makes no sense. In 2015, a candidate for the Prime Minister of Canada said that
Passed the post-voting system in the history of Canada. Même moi, Sébastien CoRhino,
even
qui
I,
était
Sébastien CoRhino, who was the leader of a party and thus candidate to become Prime Minister at the time, felt that this was true and that changing electoral reform would be carried out by Justin Trudeau before 2019.
here, and I've had a lot to think about. What I've come along is very simple. Like the senators of Ottawa, I don't think the rules for hockey games should be written by the winners of the last Stanley Cup. Should they? So why are the rules for the election are written by the winners of the last election? We demand a non-partisan organization to look at the Electoral Act. We demand the Senate to include the reform of the electoral voting system into C-25 and return it back to Parliament with these amendments. Par exemple, l'article 51 du
For
projet
example,
de...
Section 51 of C-25 creates Section 442.1, which bans misleading information shared with the aim of changing an election, but only regarding information, false information about how to vote. So we're protected only if it's procedural misinformation, but there's no provision that ensures that elected candidates respect the promises made during the campaign.
Electoral Act specifically for long ballots not to exist anymore. But Election Canada solved the problem with the special ballot, a write-in ballot that is already used for postal voting and other uses, and this ballot is absolutely perfect for the use of a lot of candidates in a ballot. There are also other ways to prevent long ballots. I was the leader of the CoRhino Party of Canada for 10 years, and I've put my name on ballots for almost 20 years now. Yes, I've lost all 10 elections I was candidate, but I've learned a great deal of stuff on Canadians, and I've talked to a lot of people in our big country. And one of the things I hear a lot of times every day in electoral campaign is, how can you be a candidate in Winnipeg when you live in Rimouski? Well, that is a simple thing you could do to prevent long ballots. Candidates in an election should live in their own riding, and most Canadians don't even know it's possible to be a candidate in a riding where you don't live, and they don't know there are ministers in this parliament that don't live in their riding and that don't even go visit their riding. Politicians should not be in charge of making the rules for their own election. There is an inherent conflict of interest in allowing politicians to be the decision maker in this respect, and it's not just limited to the election system. You, here in the Senate, might be the last bulwark into preventing this. You have to act strong and tell the Parliament this is enough. You have been voting the rule for your own election for 159 years now. This is now the end. Give the leadership of the Electoral Act to an independent body. Election Canada is admired for its professionalism and independence. Election Canada is one of our nation's most trusted government institutions, and that trust is deserved. It could be a newly created entity, or you enlarge the mandate of Election Canada to give it the charge of the Electoral Act. One last good example on why elected officials should not write their own act. Political parties are exempted to privacy laws, which I know was a talk here in the Senate. And so what you propose here is to put duct tape on the Electoral Act just to prevent long ballots. But our goal at the Long Ballot Committee is not to do long ballot and long ballot and long ballot for the next decades. Our goal is to have a real democratic system that is neutral and equal for all Canadians. And do we want to see another 160 years of Canadian democracy written by the elected officials? What will happen when members of the Parliament will make rules to keep them elected forever and let a small group of lords rule the rest of this country? So, thank you.